Hello, my name is Bill Devlin from Long Island, New York. As I speak, it's 1 week since the massacre of 26 people in Newtown, Connecticut. Of those 26 people, 20 were little 6-year-old first-grade children. A couple of days after the killings, I heard a radio interview of a local Newtown woman who said she couldn't understand how anyone could kill such little children. She said they were just babies. When I heard that, I couldn't help but think of Nellie Gray. Almost 40 years ago, Nellie was about to retire as a Department of Labor attorney, and she wanted to open her own practice. Shortly after that, the Supreme Court issues its Roe v. Wade decision, which denied constitutional protection of life to little children, preborn children in the womb. At the end of summer, early fall, there were no plans for commemorating the anniversary of the court's decision. And so people had a meeting in the early autumn of '73. About 15 people met in Nellie Gray's dining room to try to plan some kind of demonstration in opposition to the Supreme Court's decision. That evening, before the evening was over, it was decided there would be a demonstration, it would be a march around the Capitol building, a march for life, and that it would be held on January 22nd, the anniversary of the decision itself. And it was, Nellie was elected as the chairperson of this temporary ad hoc committee for a march, and various tasks were assigned to various people at the meeting. Now, no one could have done what Nellie did since then. No one among us had the knowledge or ability to maneuver through the Washington bureaucracies. Nellie was also the only person there who was free enough of family obligations to be capable of serving without financial remuneration. The march turned out to be a great success. We had 20,000 people. But we realized at that time and shortly after that that was not it. That wasn't the end. We had to go on. The committee had to stay together. And it got more active, got bigger. Its activities became more complex. They started an education and defense fund, and the work became a full-time 24/7 occupation. Almost 40 years of her life, of Nellie's life, were devoted to defending the dignity and value of human life. She did it for the rest of her life. It was a career in itself. And the amount of time that she spent was more time than all the previous important occupations of her life, whether as a student, a World War II soldier in the Women's Army Corps, or as a U.S. government attorney, all of those things combined. But where are we now, 40 years after Roe v. Wade? Recent surveys indicate that public opinion is going in our favor. More people now, a majority of Americans now oppose abortion. Nevertheless, the goal of the constitutional protection for preborn babies has not been achieved. To many people, it now seems even more difficult. The war and the battle for life has broadened. And we have issues like partial birth abortion, cloning, embryonic stem cells research, interspecies DNA experimentation, and assisted suicide. Now, Scripture tells us that kings and prophets are both great influences on human affairs and public policy. There is always a continuing tension between Athens and Jerusalem, between Caesar and God, political power and prophetic witness to truth. Little, if any, progress toward our goal has been accomplished in the pro-life amendment, getting a pro-life amendment to the Constitution. If anything, it is more difficult. Does that mean it's a failure, that our efforts have been a failure, that Nellie's efforts have been a failure? How do we gauge success? Nellie perhaps was not as successful as she would have liked to have been in terms of determining public policy, but she was a great success in being a prophet, a public witness. We have to remember that what Mother Teresa said about faithfulness being more important than success, or Father Alfred Delp, who wrote from his prison as he awaited execution in World War II, that futility or ineffectiveness do not dispense one from speaking the truth. About a year and a half ago, my wife and I, we kept in touch with Nellie all the time, even though I was really only active with her on the committee for the first 5 or 6 years. But we never lost touch with Nellie. And about a year and a half ago, when my wife and I were in Washington, D.C., we met with Nellie for a few hours. We were discussing the status and prospects of the Right to Life movement and the March for Life. She knew her age, and she knew that she couldn't go on forever. But she wouldn't quit. Not as long as she knew that the children were still being victimized and that she might be able to do something about it. She was concerned. She was concerned primarily about the life principles, and that the March for Life continued to remember the importance of emphasizing their importance. The life principles are points that are listed that are necessary to be included in any resolution for a constitutional, right to life constitutional amendment that would protect every human being from the beginning of life, from conception until natural death, with no exceptions. These life principles should be considered as Nellie's legacy. Notwithstanding obstacles, notwithstanding the difficulty of changing public opinion, the media, and what some people will call political realities. Every year, Nellie called out, year in, year out, not even a little bit of abortion. In retrospect, it seems providential, and Nellie was where she was and what her circumstances were at the time. Her involvement in working for the right to life was what she was called to do. It was her vocation in life, for which everything before, as student, as soldier, as attorney, was preparation. I'm grateful to have known Nellie, to have known her and worked with her as a comrade and a friend. In the words, borrowing the words of Cardinal Newman, may God grant her a safe lodging, a holy rest, and peace at the last.